Oh God, what is it? Wednesday? That
Wednesday.
All-Star break really messed me up. Wednesday, July 17th. Very happy to get past yesterday's lovely 15-gamer. We got a split slate today, kind of. It's 4 games on FanDuel for the early, 6 on DraftKings, so it makes talking about it impossible. And then we get the full 9, and it looks like we're going to have some weather issues tonight, so should be a blast. Adam, what's going on?
Not much. Looking forward to 10K Sunny Gray, but still not winning my bet, so that's a little bit frustrating. Hopefully, he has a good start and stays at 10K for his next one.
He's going to get absolutely shellacked today just because
I,
of
I
that.
actually feel bad for him because I think he's like an 85% favorite to sustain an arm injury in this game.
Okay. I don't even. I was about to be like, "Are you playing the early?" And then I realized what was coming out of my mouth. Tried to stop it, but I just made a noise, and then that would have just been weird. Let's get the plugs out of the way. MLB Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose. So if you want to check out Awesemo Plus, all you have to do is use that promo code MLB Strategy, one big word, and you can get 50% off your first month. And we are brought to you by Yahoo Sports. Dropping the link into chat right now for Emacs Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article. That article contains a link to sign up at Yahoo, and if you do, you could use the promo code AWESEMO and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Yahoo's been running the no management fee $3 contest pretty regularly over the last month. And they're also now running 33% payout GPPs, which I think is kind of interesting. Makes it a little bit easier to get some of your money back. Going to be a little bit less top heavy, a little bit flatter at the top. So they're trying a bunch of stuff, and everything they're trying so far is incredibly interesting to me. So if you want to check them out, the link is in Emacs Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article. Go check it out. I don't know if we're worthy to talk about baseball today after Glenn Sparkman hung 41.65 DK points on the White Sox.
Hey, some of us were overweight. Some of us were overweight on him.
Yes, you were. I have it pulled up right now. 16% Glenn Sparkman exposure, or the public was at 12.1 in the $15 on DK. So kudos to you. 41.65 out of Glenn Sparkman. The rest of the list, if you sort this list by fantasy points, good God, are there some gaps in ownership. I have you and Alex up here right now, but Harper, you guys didn't have. These are all the names that are in the top list of total fantasy points. You guys didn't have any Harper. You barely had Narvaez, Chapman, Keston Hera, Hunter Dozier, Garrett Cooper, Bogarts, Merrifield, Smoke, Kane, Kingery, Mercado. The touts took a beating yesterday from those sorts of exposures because both you and Alex just have giant gaps on everything here except for Brandon Woodruff and Jack Flaherty. Those are the two big ones. Kudos to you for getting north of 10% on Mike Yastrzemski. He's one of the few guys in double digits there.
Huh, I didn't even know I had that.
Cool. I didn't think that you would.
It didn't matter.
No, it didn't. Yeah, just looking at all these exposures, there's just nothing there. And if Glenn Sparkman's going to put up 41.65 and he's at 12% owned, you're going to need him. So 43 people max entered that $15 150 max yesterday on DK. Any guesses as to how many of them were profitable?
3.
4. Although one of those profits were $65. So, which, is still a win, but Ricky D goes for $100K. The other 3 profits were $1,400, $830, and $65. If you ain't first, you're last in that one.
Yeah.
4 people. Not a great day for Wakey Wakey. Dead last of the people that finished, or that entered 150.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you sort in reverse order by profit, there's a lot of real familiar names down there.
Yes, there are. I mean, you're going to see a lot of familiar names in that one way or the other because not a lot of people are going to be 150 maxing at the 15.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, it's the perils of MME life. Wakey Wakey, 5 teams. That's what was stacked yesterday. That's it.
That's the inverse of the nights that he comes in like 1 through 12.
You mean 1 through 150, the dream scenario?
Yeah, exactly.
The Wayne Gretzky of DFS. Giants, Dodgers, Twins, Rockies, Nats. And the Nats piece was not even a real stack. It was whoever hit ninth for the Nats plus the pitcher. So Wakey had 4 teams: Dodgers, Giants, Rockies, and Twins.
I like those 4 teams.
Yeah, I had a ton of the Dodgers. It shouldn't take much explaining to let you guys know that there were a lot of runs expected to be had in the Giants-Rockies game, and there weren't a ton of Twin stacks in this, so let's take a look at that top lineup, and then we'll get into this. 6-man, well, technically 5-man plus the pitcher. Brewer stack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. A one-off Royals bat with our man Glenn Sparkman. But Grandal, Matt Adams, Keston Hara, Moose Tacos, Mondesi, Yelich, Bellinger, and Low Kane. Did Yelich hit that home run late?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a lot of points anyway, and then he hit one.
Yeah. Spags had Yelich in the Dong contest last night, and I knew when I went to bed that only Emac and I had gotten one at that point, so I was kind of happy, but no luck for me there. No luck.
Yeah, I think it was like the 8th or the 9th on the home run because like Brewer stacks were already doing really well, and then they kind of just went off. It was like they were already at the top, but then like I had some teams that had a lot of innings left, and so I was kind of just looking at the top score, and I'm like, oh, it's only at like 175, and then I look like 10 minutes later, and I'm like, oh, it's at 220. Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, that'll do it. Your top lineup, 5-man Nat stack with no other stack, I guess, completely naked. Gomes, Adams, Dozier, Rendon, Eaton with Story, Yelich, and JD. That's a loaded lineup.
You said that was my top one?
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens. It's going to be loaded when you have Woodruff and Sparkman. You're going to have, if you can't get enough hitters with those 2 guys, you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Minimax, just to mention, I believe we had the guy that finished second, if I'm getting that screenshot correctly. Yeah, so Cody L in our premium Slack finished second in the Minimax yesterday. Grabbed himself 6K. 3 points shy of first. Woodruff Sparkman combo, surprise, surprise. Yankee stack, though. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. The 3-man Brewers. Kudos. Get that money. All right, so we've got 9 games to talk about. Weather is going to be, I don't want to say a problem, but certainly something we need to pay attention to. Have you taken a look at it at all yet?
Just pulling it up now.
Okay. Yeah, Yankees Rays looking rugged. Dodgers Phillies looking rough. Nats Orioles looking rough. Jays Red Sox looking rough. This might be a 5-game slate by the time we get to 7 o'clock. Just as always, pay attention to it. Follow Awesemo Weather if you want to get weather updates. But tune into the deeper dive. Tune into Live Before Lock with Chris and myself tonight. You can't. There's nothing you can do about weather at 9:41 a.m. Okie doke. Let me get the timestamp file open, and then we're ready to go. Man, I hope those games don't go away, because I like a lot of those games, and that's going to make it really difficult. Last thing I'm looking to do is play more of these games that have like 3.5 run team totals.
Yeah, that's not usually fun.
No. I love summer baseball. Just way more entertaining.
That it is.
All right, here we go. First game up, as I mentioned, keep an eye on the weather. Yankees and Rays. 5.4 run implied total for the Yanks, 4.5 for the Rays, 59% chance to win for New York. Domingo Germán going for the Yankees, Yanni Chirinos going for the Rays. I'm grabbing ownership right now. How do you feel about Domingo Germán here? 9,100 on FanDuel is not too bad. 10-1 on DK.
Yeah, I think the FanDuel price is really appealing. I mean, he's a really good pitcher. He has good strikeout stuff. At the 10-5 price tag, it's just you still need a lot of stuff to go right. He's unlikely to go super deep into the game unless he's really efficient, and it's tough to be really efficient if you're striking out as many guys as you need at that price tag. Tampa Bay, not the easiest lineup either. I don't have a problem with it, but I think that there are guys I'd rather get to. Like, it's tough for me to pay more money for Herman against Tampa Bay than for Clevenger against the Tigers.
Yeah, gonna be hard to get away from Clevenger here, but spoiler alert, he's got a lot of ownership coming to him.
Yeah,
right now, Herman is at 3% on FanDuel and 3% on DK. I think that's a little interesting.
Yeah, I think that makes him really appealing. I mean, you can get to 10% or something and be well over the field if that's the case. Give yourself a chance at the guy that legitimately has a chance to be the top raw scorer on the slate. He's not the favorite, clearly. You have Garrett Cole on the slate. You have Clevenger, like we said. You have, a couple of other really good arms, but he's in that conversation. And you don't need to have your entire night depend on him to be overweight.
So as I mentioned, 3% to Herman. Any guesses to what Clevenger's number is on DraftKings?
45.
43?
I'm actually not looking at it, obviously, but
yeah. Well, if you were, I think 45 would be a really good way to put me off the scent, but sound smart. So
yeah.
Any interest in Chirinos? 7,200 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings. No ownership to speak of.
No, I'm good. I mean, it's just a tough matchup against the Yankees. He's a decent pitcher, but it's not like he's anything great. He's around a 22% strikeout percentage for the season, if I remember correctly. I'm pulling it up now. But, he's just a guy that does a decent job of limiting runs. But now that his price tag has come up, I'm not really interested, especially in this matchup.
Yeah, it's weird to think that last year he would be like 5,100 as the long man for the Rays and just be 3% owned.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good times.
There was a brief time last year where people were like, "Oh my God, Yanni Chirinos is coming in stack against the Rays."
I had coffee in my mouth. That could have got really bad. I think we're done probably there with pitching. Let's talk hitting. Yankees are 9th in ownership on FanDuel, 6th on DK. Rays are 8th and 7th. I have the Yankees as my number 3 team, Rays as my number 5. It might not end up mattering, but I have a little bit more interest in the Yankees than the public does. That's probably not too surprising, but how do you feel about Yanks bets?
I feel the same way as I have the last couple of slates. It's not going to project as the best spot because Chirinos is decent, because there are some other really good spots on the slate, but they obviously have as much power as pretty much any lineup in baseball. So whenever a team like that doesn't project as the best point per dollar team or one of the best point per dollar teams, it gives you an opportunity in tournaments to get there at lower ownership and really give yourself a chance to just win the slate if the Yankees do what the Yankees are capable of doing. And then it also helps that if you look at the things, they're incredibly cheap. The most expensive hitter in their lineup is Aaron Judge at 4,500. That actually could draw their ownership up a bit. But you said, as of right now, they're not projected that highly. So you can stack the Yankees, get a really high upside stack, and do whatever you want with the rest of your lineup. Not the highest probability spot against Chirinos, but the ceiling doesn't change.
You say Judge is 4,500?
Yes.
What do you have Clevenger's price at?
99.
Fuck.
I could just be looking at I'm not looking on DraftKings.
Well, now I'm starting to think that I didn't refresh my salary files. Because I have different things, and I reference different things in my Spotlight Hitters or Spotlight Pitchers articles. So
yeah, I'm sure nobody will call you out on that.
Last time I did it, they got me within the first 15 minutes. Let me refresh this and see if I'm right or wrong here. It's not really going to be worth moving forward if I have all of the wrong salaries. I know I downloaded them. Maybe I didn't refresh DK.
Yeah, Judge is 45.
Cool. Yep, there's the old refresh. Shit. Give me a second, guys. We'll get there. We don't have anywhere to be.
No, there's not a slate in 3 hours.
Clock's at 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry, I got it refreshed.
Oh. Yeah, 110.
Almost there. 5 more seconds.
I'll just do it from memory. What'd you say?
Oh my God. Jinx, I guess? I don't know what you said.
I said you have to just do it from memory like I do.
Yeah, I don't have one of those anymore. We're almost there. It's just a white screen with absolutely nothing on it except for my spiraling circle. We got the question, when is Adam throwing out the first pitch? That would be Friday, just so no one forgets. Let's pray for good
Yeah.
weather.
I looked at my phone app for whatever that's where it says 91 and sunny. So
Good. That's all I needed to know. Okay, I've got the right salaries in here now. Aaron Judge is 4,500.
yeah,
Incredible.
real cheap.
Uh,
Gary Sanchez is 43.
Okay, at least Chris Paddock and Domingo Herman are still priced in between Cole and Ray, because that was a big part of like what I had to say earlier today, and that would have really threw it into the garbage. Nothing has changed for me though. I just want to have some Yankees bats if this game happens, which as of right now looks like it might not. There's just too much power there, too much power potential. I wish they had a couple more lefties. Trinos has been a little susceptible to lefty power, and that's not something that they're dripping in. It's all just righty mashers. Any interest in the Rays bats against Herman?
Not really. It's a park boost for their left-handed power, obviously getting out of Tampa and going into the short porch at Yankee Stadium. But Herman's just a good pitcher. I mean, Austin Meadows is fine. The lefties here are fine, kind like for power. But what it comes down to is, are you going to pay 4,300 for Meadows or 4,500 for Judge just from this game?
Right.
Ignoring all the other spots on the slate. So nothing that I expect to get to all that much.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Like you said, Meadows looks good, but if he's 4,300 and Judge is 4,500, like you're just getting a very different kind of player, at least for fantasy. I'll have a little if this game happens. They're just so cheap. I don't know what DraftKings is doing with their pricing right now, but no one is expensive anymore. After going through stretches where so many people were. I'm trying to see if there's any prices that stand out in this game. Zunino for $8 on Yahoo is a fun catcher option, I guess.
Yeah, he's always a reasonable option to me, kind of regardless of matchup, because it's not like he's a good hitter in terms of getting on base or production, but he does have a ton of power.
Right.
All you need from that price tag is him to just square up a pitch, and you're in really good shape.
Yeah, he's paying off that. Any home run is a massive, massive win for you when you have.
Like if you just take hitters and in that price range and just sort by ISO, Zunino's going to come out towards the top most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. 203 projected in Steamer. I think that's probably it. You ready to move on?
Yep.
This whole 7 o'clock stretch might not happen. Don't even think about it like that. Clearly, those games are happening in the Northeast. Phillies and Dodgers, 4.8 run implied total for the Phils. 5.7 for the Dodgers. 59% chance to win for LA. Nick Pivetta going for the Phillies. Kenta Maeda going for the Dodgers. No real ownership going to Pivetta, although on DK at 5,600, he is at 12%. Similar story for Maeda. 8 on Yahoo, 5 on FanDuel, 10% on DK, just 8,300. Do you have a preference between these two pitchers to start?
My preference would be Maeda because he's not facing the Dodgers.
Sure. It makes a ton of sense to me. Do you anticipate getting a lot? 8,300 is an interesting price for him. He's kind of just trapped in the middle with a couple other like comparable dudes.
Right. I expect a lot will depend on the Phillies lineup. If you are going to get like 6 righties in there, that's a pretty big deal for Maeda, who has just elite stuff against righties and doesn't against lefties. It's been the case for a couple of years now. It's held true this year. One of those guys that has a 30+ strikeout percentage against righties, and it drops down into like the high teens, low 20s against lefties. Pretty fair price tag. I mean, you have in that price range, you do have a couple of guys in great matchups with Duffy against the White Sox and Trevor Richards against the Padres, but it's kind of a dead price range. So I can see getting this on Maeda as like a high upside, lower probability SP1 that lets you get some more bats.
I like that idea. What about Pivetta, 5,600? Is this something you want a part of today if this game happens?
I think his stuff is too good for that price tag, so he gives you a ceiling, but the floor obviously is below 0. Yeah. It's a brutal matchup. The one thing that stands out to me is that you would be talking about him on, obviously just on DraftKings or on Yahoo. He's 5,600 on DraftKings, like you said, but Jesse Chavez is 4,100. Not that Jesse Chavez is great, but he's facing a much weaker offense in Arizona, and he's, 2/3 the price of Pavetta. I think that in my lineups where I'm looking to just save money at SP2 and take a risk, I'll probably end up just going to Chavez instead.
Yeah, I do not disagree there. Chavez getting some ownership, unsurprisingly, but he should be at that price.
It's a little bit different on Yahoo because Pavetta's 29, Chavez is 33, which I think is like where Chavez should be.
Right.
But on the flip side, on Yahoo, you have the pricing is just totally different. Like you have Robbie Ray at $43, you have Richards at 36. Like you're not paying through the roof for guys like Paddock and Ray. So I think from a whole roster construction standpoint, you're just less likely to need Nick Pavetta.
Agreed. 187 expected ISO against lefties over the past 2 years for Nick Pavetta. That is not what you're trying to run into Philadelphia while facing the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Gonna be bad. Oh God. I'm gonna end up having Pavetta and it's gross. Dodgers are, unsurprisingly, they have been for the past couple days, my number one stack. They are third in ownership on FanDuel, fifth on DK. Can we stop and talk for a second? Why in the world will FanDuel not price Jock Peterson differently? 2,800 today.
Yeah, it's really weird. He's stuck in that like Derek Dietrich price bubble from earlier this year. Yeah, I mean, he's clearly going to be really popular. He's clearly someone you're going to want in your cash lineups, and you can play him in tournaments. You just want to make sure that you're contrarian somewhere else. I mean, again, I think that's something that kind of people lose sight of, the fact that you're looking at total lineup ownership and not individuals. Right. You know, like if you have some stack that everyone in the stack is 3% owned, then you're pairing them with the Dodgers, you don't have to worry about not having Jock Peterson in your Dodger stack. But if you're stacking the Dodgers with, you know, whoever another popular stack is and a popular pitcher, you maybe want to skip Jock Peterson.
So not a lot of guys you can find here, but make sure if you are using Jock, you're going to be looking for AJ Pollock or Austin Barnes. Those are the two guys that are going unowned. Do you have any differing opinion? Do you expect the Dodgers to be your top stack? They are not the chalk stack.
I expect them to be one of my top stacks.
Okay. Chalk stack as of right now, the Nats on both sites.
Yeah, that's
also not surprising.
No.
Yeah, I've been saying it for the past 2 days. They'll be my number one stack. I have no doubt about it. There's just too much lefty power here, and the Phillies basically keep running out the exact same starter over and over again.
Yeah.
It seems to be going pretty well for Cody Bellinger. Seems to be going pretty well for Max Muncy. I don't know if anybody else homered yesterday, but wouldn't shock me. Yeah, just all the Dodgers, all the lefties. That's all I want. What about Phillies? Do you think... How do you feel about rostering Phillies today? Could it be that if the Phillies have the highest score, you're just willing to lose today?
Not quite as strong a take as yesterday, but still not a spot that I'm in love with. I mean, Maeda against lefties, like I said, 20.3% strikeout percentage this year, 203 ISO allowed, but only a 135 expected ISO. Since last year, a 199 ISO, 151 expected ISO. You definitely have more of a chance from the left side. Bryce Harper is appealing in his price tag. I don't have any issues with getting to him, but as a full stack, I don't really see getting to Philadelphia.
Bryce Harper, 20% expected ownership on DraftKings right now.
I will not have that much Bryce Harper.
I will not either. Yeah, I want to have the Dodgers. That's everything I want here. If I get to, I don't know who. I guess no one from Philly. I am a little bit heavier or a little bit more optimistic about Philly than the public seems to be. Outside of Bryce Harper, they're not really getting any ownership. They also probably shouldn't. They're 7th for me. That's kind of unappealing. And none of it will matter because this game's going to be underwater. Any interesting... favorite bat in this whole game?
Bellinger.
Yeah.
Jock on FanDuel, obviously.
I can't really disagree there. It might be Bryce Harper at 4,100, honestly. Although, I don't know what to make of Bryce Harper any longer. I can't believe the Phillies won that game.
So good.
Bellinger's so good?
Yeah.
It's funny. He is so good. And then, like, Mike Trout is in a tier above that.
Yep.
It's so weird what the gap is between 1 and 2.
Trout hasn't been that much better this season, though. It's just that you have the track record with Trout, right?
I'll be honest, I have no idea, but it seems like something we could look up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking it up as I asked that, but just going from memory, it's not that Trout's like blowing him out of the water this year. It's just that Trout does it every freaking year.
Yeah, 6.5 wins above replacement this year for Trout. 6.1 for Bellinger. Trout with a higher weighted runs created plus right now by 2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, only Trout. Yeah, Trout's been doing it for a decade.
Yeah, Trout's been doing it since he was like, what, 22 or something?
I think it might be even less than that.
Yeah, he might have been like 21 when he came up.
He was 19 the first year he came up.
Really? Wow. I didn't realize he was young.
So that was just 135 plate appearances. The next year he was 20, and that's where he went for 10 wins. His second best season ever. That's when he was like really dirty with the glove too, and swiped 49 bags.
Yeah, I was saying he hadn't put on that little bit of extra weight yet.
Yeah. Oh my god. 139 games, 30 dongs, 49 steals. He had a 238 ISO and almost swiped 50 bags. Unbelievable. It's too good. Too good. Right, let's keep going. Nope, that's not how I do it. There we go. Your Orioles hosting the Nats. 4.5 run implied total for the Orioles. 5.5 for the Nats. And they're going to be using Friday like it's a tryout. Aaron Brooks going for the Orioles. Eric Fede going for the Nats. Brooks, no ownership. Fede, no ownership. Do you want either one of these guys?
If I go to one of them, it would be Eric Fede just because he's facing the Orioles.
Yeah. He's at 4% ownership right now, 6,100. I don't get the sense that I'll be getting to him either, but yeah, I also don't have a huge problem with taking a pitcher against the O's. I think we need to talk a little bit more about hitting. Chalk stack of the day. Nats first on FanDuel, first on DraftKings. They are second for me, but surprisingly, my model's not thinking that Aaron Brooks is very good.
Huh, your model's right, surprisingly.
I walked right into that shit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, he's not good. Around a 20% strikeout percentage to both sides of the plate since last year. Not a huge sample size at all, but gives up plenty of power to both sides. High expected wOBAs to both sides. There's nothing really appealing about this guy. He was DFA'd by Oakland recently. The Orioles grabbed him because the Orioles have a bunch of somewhat promising pitching in the minor leagues, but they don't want to rush them, so they're just running Aaron Brooks type guys out there for the foreseeable future. So that's what you're going to get, is a guy who has no business being in the major leagues except for a team that is just looking for guys that don't mind throwing a baseball for a little bit.
Do you think they'll be able to print "ship my money" on the back of a jersey? It seems like it might be. I don't know. If Echeverria can get in there, it should be fine.
If there were no major league minimum salary, the Orioles would probably just be holding open tryouts.
Man, that would be really cool. It's like, yeah, we'll give you all the concessions you can eat that day.
Yeah, it would be like with the backup hockey goalies.
Yeah. Oh, that would where it's just like, the video coordinator's getting in today.
Right.
That would be clearly you would do it for no money whatsoever.
Yeah, of course. I would love to go embarrass myself.
But you would do it, right? Like if they were like, we need you to start today instead of throw out
they
the
were
first
just like,
pitch.
hey, after you throw that first pitch, just throw a few more and warm up and stay out there. Be like, yeah, okay.
Oh, it'd be so much fun. Do you think you'd be nervous?
I assume that every ball hit would be well over the wall, so they wouldn't hit me in the face or anything. I'd be fine.
I'd be asking if they can get the shield out.
Right.
It's like, I don't need to get lined here, sir. I'm pretty sure they're going to square this up.
I'm pretty sure that they are good enough hitters that we could be slow pitch softball rules for them, where it's just just don't hit it up the middle.
Do you think you'd be nervous? Or do you think that
it
would just be
like the first pitch? Of course I'd be nervous.
Yeah, but I think those two things are way different.
I would be in my head, I'd be out there to get outs. So yeah, I'd be nervous.
Trying to break them down. See, I feel like if they asked me to start, I'd be way less nervous. Because no one would expect it to go well, and there's only upside. Whereas for the first pitch, there's only downside.
Yeah, that's true.
Because no one's going to go out there and be like, oh, they're letting him start? He's probably going to mow these guys down.
Right.
If you get anybody to pop out or swing and miss, you are a hero in that stadium. But
yeah,
if you bounce if you short hop the opening pitch, you'll probably get booed. Yeah, I'm putting that seed in your head. Oh God, incredible! Is there a Nats bat you wouldn't want?
Nah.
Yeah, I agree. Kurt Suzuki projected for 2% ownership. Why is Kurt Suzuki $4,700? Was they playing this game on the moon?
He has power.
Sure, but he's Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah, I don't know. He's not a bad hitter.
But he's not $4,700.
I mean,
He's cheap.
not.
He's more expensive than Matt Adams.
He's $400 more than Gary Sanchez. I agree with you, but
maybe those things aren't in order. Jake says my 72-mile-an-hour heater would fool them, and don't get me started with my 56-mile-an-hour changeup.
What did he say? I heard 56-mile-an-hour changeup.
He said my 72-mile-an-hour heater would fool them.
Oh yeah, I faced. I played in like a summer league when I was, I don't know, like 22 or something, and there was one guy who had played like AA ball for the Reds, and I faced him. I got him out. He hit this pop up to first base like 450 feet, just like straight up in the air. But I got to say that I got him out.
There you go. Favorite Nats bat?
If Soto's in the lineup, then Soto. He fouled a ball off his shin yesterday, so maybe he won't be there. But
glad he did that
Soto,
shit after I got my home run from him. He was my home run pick.
Oh yeah. He was my cover boy on the article. Yeah, Soto would be number 1. Adams number 2.
What about cash game star Trey Turner?
Certainly. I mean, there's no Trevor Story on the slate, so he's got to be a clear shortstop option.
Orioles bats. They are 9th in ownership on DraftKings right now, 6th on FanDuel. I have them 16th. Am I missing something? Or is anything appealing here other than, I guess, I don't know, price maybe?
I mean, the matchup's not bad. Fetty's not a great pitcher. The pricing's okay. The thing with the pricing, though, is just that there's so many broken prices on other teams that you're not getting a huge discount on the Orioles. You're kind of comparing the Orioles to the Yankees, and that's not a spot that they come out all that favorably.
I'm sure you'd be happy to make that swap.
Yeah, Chance Sisco's $300 more than Gary Sanchez.
What are
Renato
we doing
Nunez
here?
is the same price as Aaron Judge.
Comparable in talent, though, at least.
I mean, Nunez did hit like 20 first-half home runs.
He did. Yeah, I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a single Orioles bat, and they are one of my least favorite teams compared to ownership, so I'm going to skip that one. All the Nats, though. I'll end up under the field, especially if they're at 18% on FanDuel. I know that I'll get to like 12, 13. I kind of end up with sort of like a soft cap there, but to avoid them would be silly, unless they're not playing, at which point, clearly avoid them. Speaking of avoiding things, I never went back to look. What did we get out of Indians pitching yesterday? I assume Ryan Carpenter just sucked because he's Ryan Carpenter, but was it Plutko? I can't remember now.
Yeah, rain delay in the top of the 4th, so Plutko got like 8.
Okay. I never went back to look. Once I pulled him out.
3 innings, 1 hit, 1 strikeout for Plutko.
Okay. I'm glad I pulled him.
He was only 8% on, though, so most people caught on.
Yeah, that's too bad. I wish it was higher.
Yeah.
Clearly. Any Oriole bat that stands out to you?
Mancini shouldn't be one of the cheapest hitters on the Orioles.
That's a true statement.
Yeah, I mean, Mancini and VR would be the two.
Mancini's $10 on Yahoo. VR is $13. That's the most expensive price on Yahoo. No trouble getting to the 6-man Orioles stack today if you want it. I don't hate that so much on Yahoo, but they're getting a lot of ownership there as well. All right, let's keep it moving. Now let's get into games that might actually happen. Indians and Tigers. 5.5 run implied total for the Indians. 3.5 for the Tigers. 70% chance to win for Cleveland. Mike Clevenger going for the Indians. Spencer Turnbull going for the Tigers. No ownership going to Turnbull. Clevenger 38 on Yahoo, 30 on FanDuel, 43 on DraftKings. I share the opinion of the public. I think Mike Clevenger is the best pitching option today relative to salary.
I think he's the best pitching option relative to points scored also.
So do I. I couldn't guarantee that I didn't have Cole. There's just such a big gap in their price that I wasn't totally sure, but I do have him above Cole. Talk to me about Clevenger and why this is just a fantastic spot for him.
The Tigers are really bad at hitting baseballs. They strike out a lot. They do have more lefties in their lineup now, but that's not really an issue for Clevenger because he has the stuff to strike out guys from either side of the plate. This year he's at since last year he's at 24.4% against lefties, which it's not as good as his 30.6% strikeout percentage against righties, but it's still fine. This year, he's up at 38% against lefties, 42.2 against righties in his small sample size. But still a lot of hitters that are just really bad. He doesn't have, splits, like we said, only a 3.3 implied run total for the Tigers, affordable price tag on Clevenger, just a lot of things working in his favor, nothing really not working in his favor. As usual, though, if you do roster him, if you do roster a lot of Clevenger, just don't watch the game, because watching this guy pitch when you're depending on him is a really, really, really stressful experience.
Hey, did you do the early bird last night? Or is that Laffy?
No. Laffy.
Okay.
Why?
Curious. It's not important now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else to do other than play a ton of Clevenger. He's just too cheap. It's really
the only actual downside, I guess, is that they seem to be being cautious with his pitch count or something. Like, they pulled him after 6 innings at 79 pitches, and that start against Kansas City where he was phenomenal. They pulled him after 5 innings at 92 pitches last start where he only allowed 1 run, so it's not like he was getting hit hard. That obviously is concerning. But at the same time, we're talking about a guy who scored 33 DraftKings points in 79 pitches. Like, that's the kind of upside that he has.
Yeah, he's really, really good. Does the 43% ownership number concern you at all?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah, same here. I fully anticipate to be north of that number. Right now, my ownership cap on him is 28%. So what's 28% of 500? Yeah, I'll probably have him in like the 60 to 70 range.
Yeah.
At least at this rate. Any Spencer Turnbull for you against the Indians? I
don't really like Turnbull all that much here. He's been a lot better against righties than lefties, and Cleveland has a ton of lefties in their lineup that don't really strike out a lot. Since last season, Turnbull struck out 16.6% of left-handed hitters compared to 25.7% of righties. He's allowed a 189 expected ISO to lefties compared to 128 to righties. It's not like he's super cheap. So it's just a spot where, he could have a good game, obviously, but it's set up pretty heavily against him.
Yeah, I can't imagine getting here. Both from a, I don't want to. It's not that I don't know what to do with the Indians. They have got like 3 good players, and then everybody else seems to be the guys that I get alerts for home runs.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of nice because like Jake Bauers is cheap, Kipnis is cheap. I wish Bobby Bradley were still in the majors. Lindor obviously is good. I mean, there's never a team I get that much of because, like you said, they're not really that good. But the pricing is affordable at least.
Favorite bat in this game?
Lindor.
Am I crazy for liking Bobby Bradley?
Since he's at AAA, yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah, they demoted him yesterday when they called up Plesac.
Same people that had who was in pitching yesterday?
Matt Boyd.
Yeah. They didn't do very well in this game again. I got Bobby Bradley hitting cleanup.
Yep.
I was like, wow, 3,400, heart of the order, 22 on FanDuel. Why is he only 1% owned? Like, that's just, there's so much power potential there. That'll do it.
Yeah, I'm double checking it now, but Columbus Clippers 47. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, no. Okay, yeah. 47 minutes ago, Columbus Clippers, which is Cleveland's AAA team, roster moves. Right-handed pitcher Eli Morgan transferred to Akron, their AA team. Infielder Bobby Bradley optioned by Cleveland.
Okay. Well,
yep, it is. It's all over Twitter.
Cool. You know where it's not all over?
Yes, I do.
A different place. Maybe Matt Boyd will pitch today. Is there a single Tigers bat that you are interested in? I have them ranked 17th today, one better than the bottom, and that is also where they are at in ownership. No one above 2% anywhere.
I have nothing.
I completely agree. Although, for some reason, I end up with like 4% Tigers every day, so I don't know. We'll see.
I always end up with more Tigers than I expect.
Yeah. Which was great. Was it 2 days ago or 3 days ago? They hit like a bunch of dongs pretty early, and I was like, "Oh, that was a lucky mistake today."
Did they barely scratched?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure that there's a correlation between me always getting more Dodgers or Tigers than I anticipate and the fact that I've gotten my ass kicked for the last 2 months, but there might be.
Yeah, well, I guess that makes sense. I probably wasn't getting a lot of Tigers in April and May when things
Right.
were when I was printing money. Let's keep moving. That's not where I type. Red Sox. Oh my! I am just out of it today. Coffee doesn't seem to be hitting me the way that I wanted it to. Red Sox and Blue Jays. 6.6 run implied total for the Red Sox. 4.4 for the Jays. 69% chance to win for Boston.
Nice.
Eduardo Rodriguez going for the Red Sox. Aaron Sanchez going for the Jays. Erod, 28% ownership on Yahoo, 17 on FanDuel, 21 on DraftKings. No ownership going to Aaron Sanchez. Surprise, surprise. What do you want to do with Erod here? Feels like he's picking up a little bit more steam than I'd like.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I mean, I have him projected relatively highly, but the price tag just doesn't leave you a lot of room for upside. It's kind of like he probably just gives you an acceptable score. There's plenty of downside risk at that price tag, especially against a Toronto team that is flawed but does have a ton of power from the right side. And for Rodriguez to really be someone that at $9,500, you're like, man, I needed more Rodriguez. You basically need him to have like one of the best starts he'll have of the season, or you need every other expensive pitcher to suck.
21, yeah, 9,500, like 8,300 on FanDuel. I get the price. I get why he would get a little bit of love. 9,500 on DraftKings is a lot for him today. I get the appeal, but
yeah, 43 on Yahoo I think is fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for he's the same price as Ray, and he's basically the same price as Paddock.
Yeah, his price relative to other people is weird, but I think the price tag on him is acceptable. Yeah, I don't get the sense that I'll have 21% of Erod. I would be just as happy getting a little bit more Maeda, and he's at half the ownership.
Right, like a $1,200 difference when you're just talking about upside. There's not a huge difference between Maeda and Rodriguez.
And we've got Yanni Chirino sandwiched in between all of these guys. That one I'll skip. Aaron Sanchez at all, 4,400. Can you do it? Minimum salary on Yahoo?
No, man, I got Jesse Chavez to get to.
I agree.
And I don't think you need to go that cheap on Yahoo.
I also agree. Well, they finally changed the Red Sox pricing. Mookie Betts, 5,400. Devers, 57. Bogarts, 56. They don't seem to be all that interested in changing anything for JD, but how do you want to manage Red Sox stacks? I actually have them ranked a little bit lower than where the public's coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get them in my lineups. Aaron Sanchez used to, at one point in his career, he was pretty good against righties and struggled against lefties. Now he just doesn't do anything well. I really don't know what his deal is. He has good stuff. He should be better, but he isn't. Since last year, he's got a 17.8% strikeout percentage to righties. This year, he's at 13.8%, a 385 expected WOBA to right-handed hitters, only a 166 expected ISO, not through the roof, but not good. I like full stacking against Sanchez more than I like one-offs, just because he's a guy who doesn't give up tons of power, but he does put a lot of guys on base. And so there's obvious blow-up potential there. But it's also likely that individually you waste some at-bats with walks. So if not that I do a whole lot of this, playing 150 lineups, but if I were playing like 1 or 3 lineups or something, I would be prioritizing either having all the Red Sox or just going somewhere else.
Do you have a favorite Red Sox bat? I guess it's got to be JD because of that price, right?
Yeah, JD at the price. Devers in tournaments, though, like he's not going to get ownership, I wouldn't think, at 5,700.
8% right now.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just a really good hitter.
It's really hard to overlook JD at 4,800. I mean, of all of the misprices today, that one might be the worst. Although, I guess, what's Judge?
45.
Yeah, so maybe not.
It's in the same category.
Yeah.
He's a better hitter than Judge.
He is.
Rafael Devers started this year off slowly, and he still has a 137 WRC plus. 224. What?
What was the weighted runs created plus?
137.
Nice. Any interest in Jay's bats up against that Eduardo Rodriguez ownership? That seems to be like the most appealing thing for me.
Yeah, for one, it's leverage against Rodriguez. For two, they're really cheap and give you power. There's not a strong mid range of pitching on this slate. There are some strong pitching options at the top. So I think that you do get a lot of upside, getting to guys like Guerrero at 3,400, Grichuk at 38, Jansen at 35, potentially Teoscar Hernandez if he's in the lineup. Here in Fenway, you can get, a really cheap Blue Jays stack and then get to some good pitching.
Yeah, I inevitably get more Blue Jays than the field. A lot of that has to do with the way that I have projections in my sheet and the fact that they have essentially underperformed since day one of this season.
Yeah.
So I would be very surprised if I didn't end up on more of the Blue Jays than the field. I mean, they are unowned outside of Vlad Guerrero getting 12% ownership because of his price.
Yeah, and they're a team, they're kind of the opposite of the Red Sox, where I think that, if I were like can building one lineup or something, I'd be perfectly fine just grabbing one or two of those guys as one-offs because they're not a team that's all that appealing as a full stack just because they don't have a lot of – it's not like they have a bunch of guys back-to-back that are good at getting on base and creating big innings. They have a bunch of guys that are good at hitting balls over the fence. So you just are hoping to get, a couple of those singled out, maybe amongst a different stack.
So based on their batting order that I have in right now, this is the order of their weighted runs created plus via Steamer from top to bottom: 88, 81, 99, 99, 125, 102, 117, 102, 84. I think they have their order in reverse.
Yeah, I mean, every time I look at them, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to skip the top two. Gurriel's expensive, but he's fine. And then like 4 through 8 is always like the meat of it.
Yeah, maybe that's the new sabermetrics.
Hit your good hitters as few times as possible.
Seems like a great strategy. I don't know about you, but that's everything that I've always tried to do. How can I get the best guys to do the least amount of work? It's an efficiency.
I mean, indirectly,
right?
that's kind of the traditional thought process on lineups. You put your speed guy first, you put your bunter second. Normally, those two things don't correlate with being good hitters, and then you start your good hitters at 3, 4, or 5.
That's a really good point. Kudos to the Blue Jays, taking it back old school. All right, final 7:00 game: Marlins and Padres. These Marlins games, man, when they play in Miami, it's like the opposite of summer baseball. 3.3 run implied total for the Marlins, 4.1 for the Padres. That's 7.4 total runs. The Red Sox are almost getting there by themselves. Craziness.
Yeah.
Would you rather take the Marlins and Padres combined or the Red Sox today?
Red Sox.
Yeah. Trevor Richards going for the Marlins. Chris Paddock going for the Pods. We'll start with Richards. 31% ownership on Yahoo, 13 on FanDuel, 30 on DK. I liked him a lot when I wrote him up this morning. The ownership is a little concerning, but this is a pretty good spot for him, all things considered.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe not 30%, but I'll clearly get a good amount. The Padres have one of the highest strikeout percentages against right-handed pitching. I think it is important to pay attention to the actual lineup they run out there. We talked about it on the deeper dive yesterday, and I'm not sure how it ended up working out for Yamamoto, but the lineup they had was just significantly worse for strikeouts than if you look at their numbers for the season. But assuming they go back to a normal lineup that has more strikeouts in it, you get probably 6 righties in here for the Padres. Richards has struck out about 24% of right-handed hitters this year. 306 expected WOBA, 157 expected ISO in Miami. It's a pretty decent spot at a reasonable price tag.
Yeah, he's had some struggles with right-handed power in the past. That's pretty mitigated here. For every benefit, I mean, look, like it doesn't matter where Franmil Reyes is playing. He's going to hit that ball out of the ballpark. But Trevor Richards' biggest issue is mitigated as much as you possibly can by the park. So if the Padres are going to continue to be a team that leans heavy to the right and strikes out a ton, that's pretty interesting. I didn't think he would get to 30%, though. I guess that's a testament to the night. I mean, honestly, all of these expected ownership numbers are largely worthless if we lose 3 or 4 of these games.
Yeah.
Everything goes in the dumper, and Trevor Richards ends up being 60% owned. Because if we lose every 7:05 start, the popularity of $7,300 Trevor Richards is going to skyrocket.
Are you expecting, like, I'm assuming it's just like storms and we'll just get some delays or something?
Legalize posted a picture of the radar, and it is a massive, massive strip of grossness just from like the top of Alabama to Canada.
Yeah.
It's like somebody painted green the entire area, but there's some sort of storm thing going. I don't know. What do I know, man? I don't know shit about weather.
Yeah, so I'm trying to just like pull up the weather near me for today. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the dark sky app that I use
Same.
for where I am in Baltimore, which is like 2 miles from Camden Yards, it just has like it getting cloudy in the afternoon, possible light rain, really humid, like throughout the night, which just sounds like storms.
Tell you what, so I also use dark sky, and when I zoom in on these things, they give me really weird cities in different places. So originally from Pennsylvania, I see Pittsburgh, makes a ton of sense. I see Philadelphia, makes a ton of sense. I see Scranton, makes a ton of sense. For some reason, it's highlighting Lock Haven, which like is not a spot that a lot of people are trying to get to unless you're really into wrestling.
Right.
Not that I haven't had a cocktail or two at Lock Haven, but at least show me State College or something. It's like 15 more minutes. No one goes to Lock Haven on purpose. Whatever. Let's talk about Chris Paddock. 21% ownership on Yahoo, 11% on FanDuel, 9% on DK, where he's 10-9. 8,900 for Paddock on FanDuel is a very, very appealing price. 10-9 on DraftKings. It's not that it's a problem. It's just that Clevenger's 9,900 and Robbie Ray is 10-1, and I just don't know what to do with. I mean, I guess you don't, because of the pricing, you don't really need it. Is Paddock going under-owned?
So on Yahoo and FanDuel, I think the pricing is really favorable, and he's a really good play. The problem on DraftKings is that it's the same problem as with Clevenger. Except for Clevenger, there's at least still some chance that he goes out there and throws 110 pitches today. There's not really that chance with Paddock. We know that they're looking to limit him somewhat, so he's really unlikely to get to 100 pitches. He's going to probably throw 90 to 100, and you can only do so much with that many pitches, and you're paying, one of the most expensive price tags on the slate. So on one hand, like, he still has a chance at being the top scoring pitcher if Clevenger underperforms a little bit. Cole has a tough matchup. Erman has a mediocre matchup. You could still get, if Paddock can go out there and throw up like 28, 29 DraftKings points, that could be the top scoring pitcher on the slate. It's just that you're paying for it. So in tournaments, I really don't know how much I'll get to. I don't mind being around, 10, 15%, but really, I'd probably rather just turn that into more Clevenger.
Now that I'm looking at this, I'm starting to think that I should try to get a lot more Paddock. Over the past 2 seasons, 32.7% K rate against righties with a 130x ISO. They're running out a ton of right-handed bats. The only lefties are JT Riddle and Neil Walker.
He's really good. The only issue I have is that the Padres have no interest in him going deep in the games.
That's a good point. Okay, is Chris Paddock any less likely to go? Like, how much different is Chris Paddock to Mike Clevenger today in terms of depth of game?
Right. So I think that they're very comparable in that they have that same downside, that same risk as far as the pitch count goes. The difference is that Cleveland does have an interest in Clevenger going deep in the games. Like, eventually, they should want him to be back out there throwing like 110 pitches.
Right.
It just seems like they've been cautious the last couple of starts. The Padres are actively not having Chris Paddock do that.
Yeah.
So at some point between now and the end of the season, Mike Clevenger is going to go out there and throw 110 pitches. I'd be very surprised if at any point between now and the end of the season, Chris Paddock does that.
Let's say you can pick your exposures, and you know for a fact that Chris Paddock is 9% owned in your tournament and Mike Clevenger is 43%. Does Clevenger at all impact Paddock, or would you just want to be north of 9 on Paddock? Because I'm thinking I just want to be north of 9 on Paddock.
Yeah, I think I would probably just ideally get overweight on both. But again, that's ignoring, I don't really know how that works out roster construction-wise. But
sure.
You probably can, since he's only 9%. I mean, you figure if you're still only talking about needing one of them in, more than half your lineups, basically. So, like, with you can play, if you had 80% of your lineups have Mike Clevenger and 20% have Paddock, you're still double the field on both guys.
Yeah. I like that a lot. I think he's going underrepresented for this matchup, for this park, and for the way that he pitches. I mean, he just mows righties down. It's not like this is some fantastic strikeout matchup, but
Yeah, he's really, really good.
yeah. I'm really
By the way,
anxious to pay
I
attention
like
to his
that,
ownership.
I like that you cited his numbers for the last 2 years.
What do you mean?
He is a rookie.
Oh, right. Fucking Lofty did the exact same thing to me yesterday. I just have 18 and 19 checked by default, just in case. Yeah. Lofty was like, "What do you mean 18?" I was like, "I just like that's just how it's filtered, man. Just leave me alone." Sure enough, the deeper dive boys, just rude, absolutely rude.
Hey, you should be taken as a compliment. Lofty was actually listening enough to catch something you said.
Yeah, well, there you go. That is a good point. Man, I'm going to have to do a show with Alex so he can bust my balls too. Get the whole deeper dive crew on me. I am very intrigued in this. Chris Paddock, you might be my new favorite guy today because of your ownership. I just assumed that it'd be higher than that. If he's in single digits, I am in. 8,900 on FanDuel, also very appealing.
Yeah, I just looked at my baseline projections too, and I have him behind Clevenger, but in like the same ballpark as Cole. So yeah. I imagine that since I do account for ownership in my lineups, I probably do come in overweight on Paddock.
I have him 0.4 of a point behind Cole.
I have 3
points or tenths.
Tenths.
Okay. I mean that's an important distinction.
I have like 3 points behind Clevenger.
Yeah, same. Oh, we're on the same. Did I just send you this morning?
Yeah.
The bigger bat, we'll call it. I think that's it for 7 o'clock games. So perfect time for everybody to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Both of those things very helpful. This would also be the perfect time to get you guys to drop in a comment after the video. And I think this one's going to be easy. Who would you rather have tonight on DraftKings? Garrett Cole or Chris Paddock? We have these guys, Adam and I both have these guys separated by essentially nothing. So who's the higher scorer today? Garrett Cole, Chris Paddock. Drop it into the comment section. Remember, their price doesn't matter. Who do you think has a better day? Let me know. What do we got? 3 games to go. Let's keep moving here. Rangers and Diamondbacks. This one should be interesting. 5.1 run implied total for the Rangers. 5.4 for the Diamondbacks. A 53% chance to win for Arizona. Jesse Chavez going for the Rangers. Robbie Ray going for the Diamondbacks. Pricing's all over the place here. So Chavez is $33 on Yahoo. Doesn't seem very appealing. $6K on FanDuel. Certainly not appealing. $4,100 on DraftKings, where he is 21% owned. Let's just start there. How do you want to manage the min-priced Jesse Chavez?
I think we both know I'll have a lot of the min-priced Jesse Chavez. It's just how my lineups work. He is too cheap on DraftKings. He's made 8 starts this season for Texas. In those starts, he has a 23.3% strikeout percentage, 3.3% walk percentage. That's a really good 20%, K minus BB percentage. 4.13 xFIP is perfectly fine, especially for this price tag. You're getting basically an average pitcher at the minimum. So yeah, I'm just gonna have him.
Yeah, you can't get away from that. No matter what the expectation is, like he's just better off than 4,100. It's just so silly. I feel like they miss on the low price guys a lot too. I don't know.
I feel like no starting pitcher that's going that is fully stretched out should ever be 4K.
Right. Unless he plays for the Orioles or something.
Yeah, but I mean like even that, like if you were going to make a case for any pitcher to be 4K that's fully stretched out, it would be Glenn Sparkman. But he still just gives you that kind of upside because he can throw 100 plus pitches.
That's a good point. Now, Robbie Ray, $43 on Yahoo, $9,600 on FanDuel, $10,100 on DK. Definitely going to have to go back and rewrite the Robbie Ray portion of my spotlight pitchers because he was like $7,800 on FanDuel yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, he was super cheap on DK yesterday. But for some reason they bump him back up. I don't know why they do that.
He was really cheap his last start too.
Yeah, it's like they don't get to it until the night before. Anyway,
yeah.
He is 25% owned on Yahoo, 6% owned on FanDuel, and 11% owned on DraftKings. How do you feel about Robbie Ray today?
11% on DraftKings is really appealing.
Yeah. He's my third favorite starter, and he is not that far behind Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I actually don't have him projected quite that high in my early stuff. That's something I think will probably end up being boosted a little bit later. But it's a bad park, but it's a nice matchup. Texas has a ton of strikeouts in this lineup. Most of their good hitters are left-handed. Ray has the third highest strikeout percentage on the slate behind Cole and Clevenger. He's got issues. He walks a lot of guys, but the upside's clearly there. He's basically the same price as Clevenger. 31.3% strikeout percentage against righties, 30.2 against lefties. Yeah, I mean, I like Robbie Ray. I don't like him as much as Clevenger, but
Damn.
I think I'll probably be overweighted 11%.
I feel the same way. Robbie Ray or Chris Paddock?
It's really close. Probably Paddock if I can get the money, but if not, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay.
The one that's really interesting to me is Erod at 9,500 or Robbie Ray at 10-1.
To me, it's a no-brainer, Robbie Ray.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with the double ownership on Erod.
Right.
Yeah, we're on the same
I mean, to me, you're just talking about you're looking to win a tournament. Eduardo Rodriguez has a 24.9% strikeout percentage. Robbie Ray's at 30.8%. Even with Ray's 12% walk percentage, his K minus BB percentage is over a full point higher than Rodriguez. His xFIP's better than Rodriguez. He's just a better DFS pitcher than Rodriguez is.
I'm going to have a lot more Robbie Ray than this. 6% on FanDuel, too. 9,600 there. $200 more expensive than Clevenger. Obviously not great. More expensive than Paddock. That does make it a little bit trickier, but I mean, as long as you're not getting Cole, all of these guys kind of look okay. Cole at 11-4 on FanDuel.
The Rangers' active roster against left-handed pitching this year, which there are obviously plenty of flaws in using this, but it's just kind of a number that you can point out. They have the highest strikeout percentage at 28.3%. That's 2 full points higher than the second-place Orioles. They have a 299 WOBA and a 78 WRC+.
The Rangers stink.
They are basically like the Tigers are against right-handed pitching.
I feel like the Steamer update has been really aggressive. You know what Jeff Mathis's projected WRC plus is?
12.
I didn't say what it should be. 47.
Yeah, I mean
that's the lowest I've ever seen. I think
the guy is bad.
What is?
I think one of the most tilting moments of the year from you is when he homered off Matt Boyd earlier.
Let me find out what the minimum one is. Oh my, yeah, that's rough. Minimum weighted runs created plus in all of Steamer is... Nope, that's the splits table. Negative 100. I was like, oh, Jesus. I didn't say show me mine. Negative 22. Which, I mean, how do you even make it into this? Who is it? Oh, he's deadly. Last name here. Who is it? Brian Demas, who I don't believe is not even on a roster. So I think you could probably drop him from your list. Old Steamer guy, who I cannot remember who does Steamer right now. Diamondbacks are the second chalkiest team on FanDuel. Should we have this conversation?
Are they really cheap, I'm assuming?
$2,700 for Jared Dyson. He's 26% owned. Escobar is $3,700, 20% owned. Jake Lamb, $2,600, 16%. Kettle Marte, $3,700, 16%. They're just getting owned.
Yeah, no, it's weird because I mean Chavez isn't great, but it's not like he's terrible either.
Yeah, I have them ranked 8th. This is a pretty clear fade for me. I don't really see what the appeal would be to get to that much Diamondbacks, especially on a day where only Cole is expensive.
Since last season, and a lot of this is out of the bullpen, so it's not perfect. But since last season against lefties, Chavez has a 24.2% strikeout percentage, 305 expected WOBA, 156 expected ISO. Against righties, he's at 22.7%, 308 expected WOBA, 174 expected ISO.
Yeah, this seems like the easiest fade on FanDuel. I assume they're coming up just because they're like a really good optimizer play. They appear to be the cheapest team that you can stack. Average salary is really low. And it's not that they don't grade out well for me on a dollar for dollar basis, but I just don't see them as essential on a day where the most expensive non-Garrett Cole pitcher is $9,600. you're just not going to struggle to get to the rest of your bats.
So from 2014 to 2000, is this 2000? 2014, Chavez made 21 starts. He made 26 in 15. He didn't make any in 16. He made 21 in 17. So if I look at his splits in those 3 years that he made at least 20 starts, and granted this was a few years ago now, but 19% strikeout percentage against lefties, 223 expected WOBA, 111 expected ISO, 22.5% strikeout percentage against righties, 228 expected WOBA, 131 expected ISO. He's never been bad.
No, never. They are 11th in ownership on DK. That is quite the disparity. I don't really have much interest in Diamondbacks here.
Though, I mean, it's a really good park.
I'd be happy to have, sure, park's fine. I mean, their implied total looks good. Getting on the opposite side of 21% Jesse Chavez is also appealing. I like them more on DraftKings than I do on FanDuel. Like, if Chavez is going to be 21% owned and I have to have Diamondbacks somewhere, I certainly would rather have them on the site where at least the other pitcher is getting love. Why not? But I don't find them to be terribly appealing one way or the other.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah. Any interest in Rangers bats?
Not really.
Pence, I guess.
Oh, I forgot I had FanDuel's pricing pulled up. I was like, Joey Gallo's $3,900.
It wouldn't be surprising though at this point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Texas is relatively expensive. Gallo at $5K obviously has power and hits lefties well, but I don't want to pay $4,800 for Chu. Not really looking to pay almost $5K for Pence either.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm getting to Texas, even though the park's favorable.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I have them ranked 12th. I mean, Pence fits from a matchup standpoint, but he's 4,900, and I think we've listed 50 outfielders that are priced too low today. So, and he's not one of them. He's priced too high somehow. All right, we'll go to the Royals, where Kansas City just keeps rolling out Cy Youngs, right? Jake Junis, Glenn Sparkman, today maybe Danny Duffy. 5.4 run implied total for the Royals, 5.1 for the White Sox, 53% chance to win for Kansas City. Danny Duffy going for the Royals. Ivan Nova going for the White Sox. You could tell pitching's rough when Ivan Nova gets 7% ownership, and we've mentioned a bunch of paydown options. Duffy, though, 20% on Yahoo, 4% on FanDuel, 16% on DK. Are you liking Danny Duffy to continue the trend of domination against the White Sox?
I think he's fine. I mean, the White Sox obviously still strike out a lot. You get Moncada from his worst side of the plate. You do have a dangerous bat in Abreu, but Eloy Jimenez left last night's game early, so there's a good chance he doesn't play today, which just makes this lineup even worse. Duffy's not great, but the White Sox are pretty bad also. So, yeah, I'll get to some Duffy.
Yeah, I have no problem with him here. I kind of like him a little bit more on Yahoo than I do anywhere else, but 7,700 on DraftKings is not bad. They just don't have any talent. It's really as easy as it comes out. White Sox stink. Wouldn't be surprised if Jose Abreu put one in the cheap seats, but the park should help that out. Any interest in Nova?
No.
Okay, good. Right answer. So this is the chalk game of the day on DraftKings. You see that one coming?
Nope.
Royals are third in ownership on DK, and the White Sox are second. I have the Royals 13th and the White Sox 12th. What are we missing here? I mean, I guess I understand why you would want the Royals, since Ivan Nova really does suck.
Yeah, I mean, the Royals are appealing, especially the lefties, but they don't have that many, especially Mondesi's questionable for this game. So if you lose him, you're down to basically Alex Gordon and Nicky Lopez. If Mondesi's in, that gives you three lefties. Merrifield's good enough. Dozier's good enough. Soler has power. You can get to those guys, but I don't know. They're not super appealing to me. They're not a team that, I mean, I'd rather be getting Dodgers. I'd rather be getting Nats. I'd rather be getting Red Sox. I mean, for sure on those three.
Yeah, these are the two basically easiest fades for me. Luckily, the White Sox aren't that owned on FanDuel, but yeah, these guys are getting a ton of ownership. Jose Rondon, 23% expected ownership because he's 2,200 on DK with dual eligibility. How does that happen? How can you be cheaper on DK than you are on FanDuel and you're 2,400 on FanDuel? There's your chalk, or there's your cash second baseman or third baseman, I guess. Do you have a favorite bat in this game?
Mondesi if he's in, Gordon if he's not.
Okay.
Sorry, Abreu, and then those guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can't imagine you're coming in anywhere near the field on either one of these teams, though, if that ownership maintains.
I'd be very surprised. I think it's just optimizer. Like that, those are both ownerships that I would expect to come down in some later updates. It's just that both of these teams have really, really cheap guys, especially at the bottom of the order.
I agree. I hope it doesn't come down, though. It makes my day a lot easier if I could just fade everything. Final game. Angels and Astros. Angels 4.2 run implied total. Astros 4.8. 57% chance to win for the Stros. Looking like Felix Pena coming in for the Angels, though I'll be honest, Fangraphs seems to list Felix Pena every single day. Garrett Cole going for the Astros. We've mentioned Cole a little bit. 23% expected ownership on Yahoo. 9 on FanDuel. 12% on DK, where he's just expensive across the board. This is a terrible strikeout matchup. If Mike Trout is in the lineup, it's not even like a good team to face. If Trout comes out of this lineup, Cole becomes a little bit more interesting. But what do you want to do with him at this price tag?
I think it'll be really tough to get there, especially because Paddock's not getting ownership on DraftKings either.
Yeah.
Cole obviously is the best strikeout pitcher on the slate. I know Clevenger's strikeout percentage is a little bit higher, but Cole has, out of qualified starters, he has the highest strikeout percentage by a pretty wide margin, up over 37%. And he can do it against anyone. I mean, he just did it against this Angels team 2 starts ago, had 9 strikeouts in 7 innings, 34.8 DraftKings points. But the problem is that the ceiling is obviously still there, but the probability of him hitting it is lower because of how good the Angels are. But also, you're still paying that premium price tag where you can get contrarian at pitcher and get a really high upside pitcher in Paddock for $1,600 less.
And less ownership.
Right, with less ownership. And that's the thing, too. Like, Cole will get some ownership just because he's Garrett Cole. So it's not like there's really any chance that he's like, just not owned at all. He's still going to be in, like 10% of lineups or something. So, I if I happen to get a team that comes together and I can afford Cole, that's fine. I think that it is the one thing working in his favor on DraftKings is that you have Jesse Chavez to work with. So you can roster Garrett Cole and still spend less than $17,000 on pitching.
Yeah. It's just a really terrible spot. I mean, with Andrelton Simmons and David Fletcher, like they just, outside of Upton and Ohtani, I mean, these guys just don't strike out all that often.
Yeah.
Trout coming out of this lineup would really change things.
I obviously haven't crunched lineups yet, but I do think there's at least some possibility that what ends up happening in my lineups is that I just get like close to all in on Jesse Chavez and then pair him and then end up being able to get overweight on every one of like Clevenger, Ray, Cole, and
Paddock.
I
don't hate that idea whatsoever.
I have no idea if that's what will happen, but it's something I could see it happening and I wouldn't be upset.
Any Pena?
No, it just seems unnecessary in this spot. He is better against righties than lefties, and the Astros have a lot of righties, but they do have some dangerous lefties with Brantley and Alvarez, who I like a lot. But more so than that, it's just not a good strikeout matchup. And if you're looking for a relatively cheap pitcher that can give you average production, then just spend $4,100 instead of $6,700.
Completely. No ownership going to the Angels right now. That's not terribly shocking. Any chance you would want to stack up Angels against Cole? This seems like a terrible spot to do it.
Yeah, I don't want to stack them. I don't think they're the craziest spot if you're just looking for like a one-off because Cole will give up some power. You have a really cheap Ohtani, a really cheap Upton, but in the context of a 9-game slate where there's a lot of really good hitting spots, it's not somewhere that I anticipate really getting to.
$4,100 Ohtani with 3% expected ownership. That's a spot where you should try to get it. Like Garrett Cole gives up home runs a lot. I don't mind having Ohtani here. Astros, though, 13th in ownership on FanDuel, 8th on DK. I have them as my number 4 team. How do you feel about the Astros?
I think they're pretty interesting because, like the Yankees, they're priced cheaper than they should be for how talented they are.
Okay.
against Pena, you prefer the lefties. So Brantley and Alvarez are the two that stand out. But Bregman's just a great hitter. Springer's a good hitter. Altuve's price tag has finally come up, but he covers a weak second base position. You can, obviously go to the bottom of the order and get power at catcher, a cheap guy in Chirinos. Reddick's a cheap outfield option. Gurriel's been hitting for more power. It's just a really, really deep lineup that's affordably priced. Brantley and Alvarez stand out as really good plays, and then you can just kind of build around that.
Yeah, we're on the same page here. I'll certainly be over the field, particularly on FanDuel, where these guys are getting no ownership whatsoever. 13th in aggregate ownership. Highest guy there is Bregman at 5%. They're expensive, but that makes it more appealing to me, just knowing that people won't get there naturally. I think that's it. As we mentioned earlier, pay attention to the weather. As of right now, it's looking like the East Coast could have some trouble. We're going to need to see a lot more for the Yankees game, the Phillies game, the Orioles game, and the Red Sox game. So follow Awesemo Weather on Twitter for any updates from Alex. Alex will be on the Deeper Dive with Adam and Laffy today at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we'll have a little bit more up-to-date information for weather at that point. And then myself and Chris Spags will be live before lock from 6 to 7. And then tonight, Live Before Lock PGA edition, and this one is more Live Before Lock than it normally is, since we are across the pond. Ben Rasa and Jason Roslin for the Open Championship, aka the British Open, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Ben will be in office hours from 8 to 9 before that, but they will be talking Open Championship. You playing golf this week?
I'm not sure.
Really? Major week, and you're just like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah, haven't felt like doing it.
Weird. So what you're telling me is that you'll jam in lineups at like midnight tonight?
Probably, yeah.
It locks at like 1:30 a.m., so I don't think that you're going to do it in the morning.
Oh, yeah, good to know.
I think that's everything. Check out Spotlight Hitters, Pitchers, Stacks. I'll drop the link into the chat right now for Emacs Spotlight Hitters article. If you want to sign up at Yahoo Sports, link is inside the article. Use the promo code AWESEMO and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. That's good as cash. Try to get yourself into the no management fee contest. See if that is filled yet. No. You can still get in right now, but you got to hustle. 103 spots remain. $3, no management fee whatsoever if you want to get into it. Hit the like button on the way out the door. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Do all that fun stuff. I don't know about Adam, but I'll be in our premium Slack for the next 2 hours or so up until the early slate lock. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them my way. Happy to answer them. And if you're not a member, today's the perfect day to do it. MLB Strategy is the promo code, 50% off. Come join us in Slack and talk early slate. Adam, anything else?
Nope. Oh, don't forget Sunny Gray Day on the early slate.
How could anyone forget that? And don't forget Adam Day on Friday. And we will make sure that we have some sort of video of this process, I promise. So cross your fingers, everybody. We've got 2 more days until Adam hits a bystander with the first pitch. There we go. Adios, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Good luck today.